Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. In War of the Visions, let's talk about the recent update in JP, where the way stats will be counted will be different, looking at your weapon, your accessory, and then your piece of armor. And then I wanted to wait a little bit to do this video so that I could watch some Japanese YouTubers give their thoughts on the topic, but so far there have been none. It's probably because everybody's doing the tower right now. That just came back yesterday. But I was a little disappointed, so I'm just going to go ahead and make my own video, and if I have more to say later, then I'll do that. But to be honest, the overall quality of YouTubers, Japanese YouTubers, not YouTubers that play the JP version, but actual Japanese people, it feels pretty low overall. There's maybe 8 or 10 YouTubers that regularly do content, but only 2 of them are worth subscribing to, and I'll put links to their channels in the notes. One of them is Mayachin. I'm sure you're all familiar with him. He does poll videos where he's very funny, and then he does analysis videos that are very in-depth and thoughtful and legitimately useful. But he doesn't post every day, so it might be a little bit of time before we get a video on his thoughts about the new stat stacking system. And then the other YouTuber that I like is Shimura, but he doesn't really do analysis. He just kind of reads the news and then reacts to it. But his voice and manner is so calming that I could listen to him talk about anything. So that's why I subscribe to him. Maybe that sounds like somebody that you know. But there are like 2 maybe YouTubers that are at the top. It's probably just because they post every day. But one of them, I hate to say it, he's just kind of like a dumb guy. He's also reading the news and reacting, but like not insightful at all. And he's often like misremembering like stuff and making wild guesses about the direction of the game, which obviously will not come true and have never come true. But he's quit making War of the Visions YouTube videos, so good riddance. And then the other guy is just very full of himself, so I'm not going to mention him in the notes at all. But anyway, let's look at how the stats stack. As it was before the update, or as it is in global now, you can equip like a weapon, an armor, and an accessory, and then it'll just take the highest value from each of those stats. But now, all of these stats will be counted. So for Sasayaki here, let's give her the golden armor that will raise her HP 600. And we can see her HP now is 3352. And then this will be the highest HP value of anything that I equip on her, so that will get the full value. But let's give her a second one. We'll give her Federica's ribbon, an accessory that will give 434 HP. Sasayaki will not get the full 434, because it's not as high as the 600 from the golden armor. But let's equip it, and let's look at what percentage of this is added. And this will happen real quick, so we'll have to look right there. Okay, so we saw plus 217, so that's 50%. That's pretty darn good. Okay, and then let's add one more. We'll do a weapon, and then we'll do the Metal Slayer. This is very close to an even number, 100. So we can see what kind of percentage we get HP from here. Again, this will be real quick. And go. Okay, plus 29. That's about 30% of the total. So yeah, for the highest value, of course, we'll get the 100%. For the second highest value, we'll get 50. For the third highest, we'll get 30. This is true for HP at least. I don't know if this is true for all stats. I wasn't paying enough attention there. If it's not that way across all stats, leave a comment. I would love to know. But yeah, I did say in my previous video, kind of as a preview of this new mechanic, that now we would have to be thinking about equipment a little bit differently, and then also considering, raising all of the levels to full, so that we could also maybe get full stats on everything offered here. I won't talk about builds in this video, but I thought I would spend the rest of the video talking about craftable accessories and armor, and maybe pick out some like standout pieces that might be more interesting to consider now with the new stacking system. So let's look at accessories first. And again, these are just the craftable ones, so like fairy ring, jeweled ring, that kind of stuff. But for the most part, the accessories, they don't really have any stats that are really worth considering or reconsidering in this new system. But you can get critical and aim for most of these rings. So you can get a little bit there, like critical 7 or accuracy 9, stuff like that. A lot of these will give you HP, and they also have vital types, but none of the values are high enough, I think, to make you want to work on those. But I still recommend making +5s, so maybe the Brave Ring and the Fairy Ring, because they can give you an evade bonus stat. And then the other day we got our first craftable UR item, the Alexandrite Ring. Most people went for the aim type, which I think is a good idea. That can work directly with the bonus stat of accuracy. But I like the critical version as well. A little bit more HP than the aim, 182 versus 159. Accuracy 10, which is still amazing for an accessory, but also critical 15. So it's a little bit more kind of well-rounded than the aim. The vital just gives you HP plus 228. I don't think that's worth it, because even like MR Trustmasters will give you more HP than that, so yeah, I don't think you want the vital Alexandrite Ring. Okay, next let's talk about armor. Let's talk about hats in particular. All of the hats are actually kind of similar. They all have like barrier and dodge types, and then the circlet and the sage's hat, they also have vital types. Again, vital's not very high on any of them, so I wouldn't recommend that for them. Barrier is kind of interesting. If we look at the wizard's hat, yeah, there's barrier. You can get a spirit of 6. And before this update, like maybe defense or spirit values lower than 8 were maybe negligible, since it would only take the highest stat. But now that we can stack all the defense and spirit, having any kind of value in there at all would be worth it. And so you might be getting like defense or spirit values like over 20 or something, even on non-tank characters, which sounds pretty crazy. Circlet is the same deal mostly, and then Sage's Hat, this is going to have the highest stats. And then I'm a fan of making +5s, where the bonus stat will directly affect the type of the armor. So in this case, this is a dodge type hat, and then the bonus stat is also dodge, so you can really stack on the dodge there. Again, the vital type for the Sage's Hat, I don't know if I can recommend. But the barrier type, it will give you Spirit 18, which is pretty crazy. If this is your only piece of armor, Spirit 18 is great. And then also Magic 10, this has a Magic 14, but that's a teeny little boost to your magic stat. Okay, next let's talk about Helms, and then Helms are pretty interesting. I am a fan of the Iron Helm actually, and then I really like the shield type, because the max defense here is 10, which is higher than any of the Mithril Helms, but also higher than any of the Golden Helms. That's pretty crazy. And then all of the helms will give you projectile resistance. So if you wanted, projectile resistance and defense, the Iron Helm might be better than the Golden actually. You won't get as much HP, but it's not a big difference, just 100. And then also the hurdle to getting a +5 Iron Helm is much, much lower than a +5 Golden Helm. So you might want to make a shield of the Iron Helm, and then make something else of the Golden Helm, and then you have kind of, different helmets for different situations. But talking about the Golden Helm, Vital will give you 400. This is what I have here. But as you can see, all of the other stats are negligible. If you are working on Sasayaki, for example, and you don't care about defense or spirit, you just want HP and then resistances, then the Golden Helm could be pretty good if you want that projectile resistance. Shield, again, I would pass in favor of the Iron Helm shield. And then Barrier might be the best of the Golden Helms. They'll give you defense 4, spirit 5. Again, those are kind of low-ish stats, but they won't be cancelled anymore. They will be counted, so yeah, I think that could be good. Okay, next let's talk about light armor. And then I don't know what this is called in the English version, but the student's clothes. This is interesting. I think this is the only armor which will give you a magic value. It's very low, it's either 4 or 6, but still, it's a something to distinguish it. This is the barrier here, defense 3, spirit 13, that's pretty darn good. And then there's a shield version, which is defense 6, spirit 6. Still pretty good, that could count for something. So I wouldn't sleep on the student's clothes. And then if you get it to +5, you get the magic resistance +6, which would work directly with the spirit. Oh, real quick, sorry, let's go back to the Helms. There was one that I forgot to talk about there. But the Mithril Helm, this one has a dodge type that we can see here, where you can get evade up to 10. And then, yeah, if you have a character which, can't equip hats, this could be a good substitute. Or if they can't equip heavy armor, again, this could be a good substitute for the evade. And then if you need that combination of evade and projectile resistance, this could be pretty good for you. I might want to make the +5 of this as well. Okay, sorry, we'll get back to light armor. The Mirage Vest is kind of underwhelming. The barrier type will give you defense 6, spirit 12, that's fine. The shield type will give you spirit 12, spirit 6. But compared to the intelligent coat, I don't think it's as worth making. But base HP is really good, 335 for both barrier and shield. Barrier, we can see here, will give you the 4 defense and the 21 spirit. And then I like the spirit because that works directly with the plus bonus value, magic resist +8. Shield will give you defense 9, spirit 10. That's kind of a nice all-around defensive armor, so I do like this one too. Yeah, so maybe skip Mirage Vest, go for Intelligent Coat, and then maybe Student Clothes if you are inclined. Alright, and then finally we have the Heavy Armor. And then I like the Iron Plate. This is the shield version. This will give you defense 15, which is higher than any of the SR, the Mithril Plate. So this one too, you could get the 15 defense, get it to +5, get the +6 resistance. It won't be as good as the defense 18 resist +8 golden armor +5, but we all know how hard it is to make the MR +5 equipments, so the Iron Plate could maybe stand in for that. I really like this one. And then the Mithril Plate, which I just mentioned, this has a dodge type as well, just like the Helm, so that's really interesting. So yeah, 18 evade, you could put that on your soldiers, like Stern. He can maybe get evade for you, and that's especially nice because he can't equip hats. And then another reason why you might want to make a +5 of the Mithril armor is for the strike resistance. This is the only piece of armor in the game, I think, right now that has strike resistance. There's no need for it because there's no strike meta, and there still isn't one in JP, but someday there will be, and then this will be good armor to have for there. Otherwise, I like the Vital version of the Mithril armor. Gives you almost 500, that's very nice. And then the shield, it will give you defense 13, which is not as good as the Iron Plate again, so I would skip shield for Mithril armor. And then finally there's golden armor, and I like all 3 versions actually. I mentioned the shield one before. You can get HP 478, defense 18, 2 spirit. And then here I have the Vital. Again, this is for my Sasayaki, where all I care about is HP and the resistances. But barrier is also pretty good too. Again, 478 HP, defense 9, spirit 5. Alright, so yeah, to sum up, for hats, I would try to make the Sage's hat if you can, but if you don't want to do the farming, Circlet or Wizard hat will just be good. For helms, maybe make the Iron Helm shield type, make the Mithril Helm dodge type, and then the Golden Helm make barrier, unless you want something for your Sasayaki, then you can make Vital. For light armor, you could really make any of them, but I think Intelligent Coat, even though it is an MR, that is worth the effort. And then for heavy armor, maybe make an Iron Plate shield, a Mithril Plate dodge, and then a golden armor anything. Maybe barrier for all-around use, vital for Sasayaki. Okay, so that was a look at the percentage breakdowns. Again, it's 100, 50, and then 30. And then some featured armor and accessories that maybe have a little bit more value within this new stacking system. Alright, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Take care.